Thank you for joining us for another segment of Did You Know? Brought to you by Carry Movers Limited and ProPics Canada Media. Today's town features Sicamous, British Columbia. The information from this broadcast is partially brought to you by wikipedia.org. Sicamous is a district municipality in British Columbia, located adjacent to the Trans-Canada Highway at the Highway 97A junction, where Mara Lake empties into Shushwap Lake via a short narrows. Sicamous is a resort town about halfway between Calgary, Alberta, and Vancouver, British Columbia. It is also the eastern gateway to Apple Country. With 341 kilometers or 212 miles of shoreline, it styles itself as the houseboat capital of Canada. It has an estimated population of 3,166 residents. The name Sicamous is an adaptation of a Shushwap language word meaning river circling mountains. In the late 1800s, Sicamous area was inhabited by a semi-nomadic indigenous nation called the Shushwap. They crossed the Rocky Mountains to hunt buffalo on the plains. In this area, they were known as the Sicamous. In 1871, a provincial map shows Sicamous Narrows, which in early history was known as a meeting place of Indians. In 1864, gold was discovered on the Columbia River. Seymour Arm became a supply center in the Big Bend Gold Rush. In 1885, permanent settlers arrived after driving the last spike at Craigellachie, which linked Canada from sea to sea. Among the first settlers in Sicamous were the families from Finland. Old Town, or Eagle Pass Landing as it is now known, became an almost instant town in 1871. It was the central supply center for railway construction. Today, it is used primarily for recreational purposes such as sledding, houseboating, hiking, swimming, and biking. Later, in the early 1900s, CPR Hill became a residential development. Finlayson's store and jail were built in 1892, adding a post office in 1904 and the first school opening around 1908. In 1949, a bridge was built across the channel, previously having been just a ferry crossing. In 1890, the original Sicamous Hotel was built by the Canadian Pacific Railway. It was operated for 8 years when in May of 1898 it caught fire and burned down along with the station. In 1900, the hotel was rebuilt. The hotel was a Tudor style with 75 rooms and a large, elegant dining room. The dances were locally popular and well attended. In 1956, the railway ended service to the hotel and it closed. The hotel was demolished in 1964. Eagle Valley in Sicamous became the home of many settlers. They came and farmed the land, putting up with forests, deep snow, and hordes of mosquitoes. The first newspaper in Sicamous was the Eagle Valley News. It was printed for the first time on October the 22nd, 1958, and continues today. Sicamous was incorporated in 1989. In June 2012, the community experienced major flooding due to the heavy rains and abnormally high amount of snowmelt from higher elevations nearby. Over 350 of the residents were evacuated and many homes were heavily damaged. In 1984, Sicamous and District Recreation Center opened. Many other civic projects followed. If you're planning a trip in Sicamous or in that region, there are many houseboat rental companies and other recreational companies providing services and experiences unlike any other. About halfway between Sicamous and the next town traveling towards Calgary would be Revelstoke, and in the middle you have Three Valley Gap. There is a hotel, a ghost town, and a beautiful lake to be experienced there. However, I do strongly recommend from previous experience to avoid staying at the Three Valley Gap Hotel. The service there is horrible. Although great for a stop along the drive, if you do need a hotel, avoid Three Valley Gap and either stay in Sicamous or after Three Valley Gap at Revelstoke. Again, this is Did You Know? Brought to you by Carey Movers and ProPics Media Canada.